Well, here the SnoJet sits. Shortly after I made the last video about it, I had it running, and it all of a sudden went really lean and then went really rich. So I turned it off in front of the shop there, and I ended up taking the carburetor apart, and I found a big chunk of looked like old fuel line sitting in the right in the inlet needle. So I cleaned that up, put it back together. Couldn't get it started again. So I took the carb apart, made sure I had it right, back together right, cleaned everything up, put it back together, still couldn't get it started. So I drug it here, and this is where it's pretty much sat. So I don't know why it wouldn't start before. It seemed to have spark. I put a little tester on there and it showed spark. So I figure we'll spray it with some carb cleaner, hook that battery up to it, and just see if it does something. If it doesn't fire, I don't think I'm gonna mess with it now. It's too cold, but I figure we just see if it'll run again. Alright, I've got the battery hooked up. I've got some carb cleaner here, so we'll spray that in there and see if it pops. See if it does anything. A good sign when it won't even pop off with carb spray. Well, I've got the SnoJet in the garage here, and I went ahead and I gave it a quick spark test with my little, well, it's not sitting here, but it's a little inline spark checker that goes in between the plug and the wire, and it just lights a little light. And it lit the light, so it seemed like it had spark, but no matter what I did, I couldn't get it to pop, not at all. So I'm thinking it may be spark related. I don't have a compression tester that works because mine kind of went to crap. So I can't test that, and I don't think it's all the fuel because it won't start off carb spray or anything. It won't even pop. So I'm back to the ignition, and I went ahead and I pulled the flywheel off to take a look at it. And yeah, it's kind of nasty in there. I got broken magnets and chunks of that crap in there. But I did find something interesting. If you look in here, if you look up in the corner, that's a screw wedged up in there. That ain't supposed to be like that. And it actually belongs in this slot here. And I actually went ahead and tested the other two screws, and they were both loose. So that may have something to do with it. So I'm going to pop that screw out of there, and I'm going to do some research and see where this needs to be, because it can actually move. As you can see, I think on that bolt, or that screw, it looks like it used to be down there, and it moved. But I don't really know, so I'm just going to do a little research and see how to deal with that. See where it needs to be. Pull that out, clean out some of the chunks of magnet and crap in there, and then maybe we'll put it back together and see if it runs. Well, I've got it all back together here. I got that plate screwed back down, and put the flywheel back on, adjusted the points, and I think I've got everything right. I went ahead and put my little spark checker on there, and I still have spark, so couldn't have made it any worse, I don't think. So let's spray a little carb cleaner in there and see if it'll pop off. I broke my throttle cable in the process, but that's alright. Let's see if she does anything. Doesn't even seem to want to pop. To run now. Let's see if I can keep her going. Maybe. least I got it running. Oh, I don't have a I don't have a choke lever or a throttle cable, but I think I'll just keep playing with it and see if we can't get it to run a little better. Well, I had it running for what you saw on camera there, and then I couldn't get it started again. Cranked and cranked and cranked, and it wouldn't even pop again. So I went ahead and I pulled the plug, and it was pretty wet. So I'm thinking maybe it's flooding out, and that's my problem. So I went ahead and I dried the plug off, cleaned it up, let it sit for a little while and kind of dry out. And I've gone ahead and I've pulled the fuel line off. So let's see if it pops or anything now. I don't know what it's going to do. Well, I know at this point it shouldn't be flooded. Let's give it a little bit of carb spray and just see what happens. Yeah, it's like it wants to go, but it don't. I don't know, I'm kind of at a loss now. I suppose I'll pull that plug and see if it's at all wet. And, I don't know, maybe go through the carburetor again? I'm kind of lost on this one. Well, I do believe I found another issue. I don't know how well you can see that on camera, but I dumped some of the gas out of the filter there. You can kind of see that bubble there on the edge. Don't know how well you'll be able to see that. Try to zoom in a bit. Maybe. Focus. Well, anyway, there's a little bit of a bubble there, and what that is water in the gas, and that came straight out of the filter. So I'm guessing the gas I've got in there is full of water, and that's probably at least contributing to my problems. So I'm gonna have to find a way to drain that tank and then get some fresh stuff in there and see if maybe it'll run. Well, I think this is where I'm going to leave it tonight. I ended up, after I found out I had water in the gas, I went ahead and hooked it up to this little can here. It's got some mixed gas in it, and cranked it forever, and finally got it to pop off, and it ran for probably about 30 seconds. But I constantly had to adjust the choke and the throttle to keep it even running. It didn't run very well, and it finally died, and I couldn't get it started again. So pulled the plug out, and it was pretty darn wet. So I'm wondering if there's something going on with the carburetor there, causing it to flood out. So next step, I think I'll probably pull that off and take another look at it. Maybe I put something together wrong, or there's something I missed, or who knows. I don't know anything about these snowmobile engines anyway. So I'll do that. And one thing I would like to check is the compression, but unfortunately my compression tester is junk, so I can't tell you where it's at. I know it has compression just by the way it feels when I turn it over. Well, there's no plug in it now, so I'm not going to get much compression that way, but it has compression with the plug in there. So I think I'll pull apart the carburetor, and after I had it running, this pipe was smoking like crazy. I don't know if it's because it was running so rich, but you can see the whole thing's wet, and that might have been from earlier when I was cranking it over with all that bad gas in there. But I'm going to probably pull this off too, just to check it out, because when I first got this thing and first got it running, a bunch of mouse nests came out of the exhaust there. I'm wondering if there might be still some in there kind of clogging it up. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to pull it off and look. So that's where I'm at with this. video just to get it to that point. I ended up taking the carburetor off and took that apart, found some crusties in there, cleaned that up, also found some water in the gas, so dried that all up, cleaned everything up, put it back on, still wouldn't start or pop off, even with carb spray. So I decided to take yet another look at the spark plug here, and I had been testing it with my inline spark checker, and it always showed that I had spark. So this time I decided to take the plug out, put the wire to it, and ground the plug, and I got no spark. Which is kind of funny because this plug looks pretty good. I mean, if you look at it, it looks like a really good plug, and it's almost brand new, but I don't know if it just got so fouled out inside there that it just couldn't fire anymore or what. So I grabbed an old, nasty, black piece of crap plug, threw it in there, and finally got spark. And then it would run off a carb spray, sort of. But then I had another problem. When I had it running off carb spray, the carb wouldn't suck up any gas. So off with the carb again, took that apart, and when I took it apart, I noticed that the tip of the needle, which you can't see, but it was kind of folded over a little bit, and it was kind of coming off the metal part here, and it was jammed up in there. So that's probably why I wasn't sucking any fuel. So I grabbed another one. I'm pretty sure the one I grabbed was a used one, but I put it in there anyway, and got it to pop off on its own gas. Didn't have to use carb spray, so that was awesome. But then I still had a problem, because it would only pop off a few times and then die. Kind of like it does now, but way worse. So I went ahead and went in there and fiddled with the timing one more time, and I got it to this point here, so now it runs. So we've had a lot of issues. There's still a lot of tweaking left to go before it's actually a good runner, but at least it starts now. I'm going to have to obviously tweak on the carburetor and probably the timing, the points, all that stuff I fiddled with. I'm going to have to get myself a new throttle cable, rig something up there, because of course that broke off. I'm going to have to put a good charged battery in it. And now that I know that the tank is full of gas, for now, I'm going to have to get another longer chunk of fuel line, and I'm going to put that tank, I think that's off an Arctic or something, I don't know. But I'm going to put that tank and just strap it in the back for now and see if we can get it running. So, that's where we're at. I got work to do before I can actually ride it, but at least it runs. The whole time, I think it was just the spark plug that was so fouled out it wouldn't fire. And then as I went through, I found the water in the gas, which is probably a good thing I found. And I found that screw jammed up in there in the loose plate. So it's probably a good thing I started looking everywhere else too, because I found a lot of little problems. So hopefully we'll get it sorted out and we can ride it at some point.